Stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next, Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Please note that the following views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is ever being construed as hate, medical, and legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on the RealPublicRadio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week on the RealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network, and on YouTube.com as Forbidden History Live, and NinjaCat111 bringing us the Forbidden History Chronicles, and the old archives are at the Forbidden History Series. 4 words, the Forbidden History Series. Stand by for the broadcast. And hello there, Zealot. Good to have you on the broadcast. We got a record listening in. 1, 2. Okay, well, they're coming in. Our notices went out. So, but stuff happens. I know that lately stuff has been happening. So hopefully the system is good to go tonight. We are. And making history, being a part of history. That's what we do right here. Just Love, good to have you. And we've got answers to questions coming up first on the broadcast. Okay, and then words, and then the story of Isaac, part 2. The evidence of how the Masoretic text, the Masoretic, Mazar, Egyptian text, and the priesthood destroy the original stories of our scriptures. But that's okay. We can, by the grace of the great Father of Light, put it all back together, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by for the broadcast. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio, and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's Forbidden History Live with your host, Dezert-Owl. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Stand by for the broadcast. Have you tuned in right here, ladies and gentlemen, because here is where we bring you the most important information on the face of the entire earth or under the earth. Here is where each week we bring you the very best in radio broadcast listening while we reveal the greatest secrets and the deeper mysteries of life. Yet the one question that will always remain will be this: can you handle the truth as it will be presented here this evening, tomorrow at dawn, in the afternoon, in the future, wherever you are around the world? I don't know if you can handle the truth. I don't even know if you want the truth, but the truth can set you free. Yet the truth will make you a fugitive within your own land, and then you'll have nobody else to talk to, hardly, ladies and gentlemen, unless you tune in right here to Forbidden History Live. Coming up next, Dezert-Owl, stand by. We'll be right back. And you did tell your friends, right? Still time to call your friends, ladies and gentlemen. Still time. After all, you wanted to know. Get on that phone. Come on. Right now. And what we're talking about tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Isaac, the second born, ASHAYAACH correctly. The evidence of how the Masoretic text and the priesthoods destroyed the original scriptures, and how ASHAYAACH was willing to give his life as a sacrifice as a full-grown adult. The most amazing story you've never heard coming up next. And welcome to Forbidden History Live, ladies and gentlemen. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. And it's good to have all of you. So many wonderful people that come onto this broadcast. I am honored to be with such a wonderful group of people. We all have, each of us, our own life experience, and know to score. We've all been bit somehow by that beast system, and we just don't know what drives them. Other than insanity. They're driven by insanity, and they've made an insane world, an illusory world where nothing is real. Everything is phony, fake, fraud, deception, deceit. And a state of death, a continual state of death. They killed us with the birth certificate. They killed us by putting our names in all capital letters, creating a fiction. And then you got to go in there and represent yourself. Oh, do you wish to not represent yourself, but do you wish to represent yourself as a fiction? While the judge is presiding, but it's really presiding. He's presiding with the prosecution because they want to bond your hide. That's security, which is your birth certificate, and you're the hostage. Go read the handbook on Roman civil law. The first thing you need when you create a security is a hostage, and you're the hostage. You're the surety. The scripture says at least twice, if not three times in Proverbs, don't be a surety. Do not be a surety. Okay, so it's pretty serious stuff, obviously. And but that happened to all of us across the board, And yeah, well, the good news is Scripture says that are you a slave? Then don't seek to be free. Are you free? Well, then don't seek to be a slave. So whatever state you're in, this is the good news. Whatever state you're in, you can still serve the great breath of the wind and fire, the Holy Spirit. And he says, serve your masters like you serve Yeshua. Be perfect. And if you're a slave, you got to obey all the laws, codes, rules, regulations. Be a good slave, okay? And if you're free, then guess what? You don't have to bend over to that statutory fraud, So it's a learning process. Some people sort of dive in, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in a lot of trouble because they don't have prep, or know the game or the score, or who's winning, who's losing before they get involved, And it's important to know the nature of things, ladies and gentlemen, And I saw a movie, finished it just before the program here, and it was called by referral by Deborah Tavares on her channel, and she referred us to City 40 on Netflix, City and then in space 40, City City, and then 40 City 40, and it was an unknown city in somewhere in the Soviet Union. Then ultimately it was in one of the states of the former states of the Soviet Union, and I don't. Russia could have been. I don't remember specifically the location because they didn't put it on a map. And it turns out there are like about 28 cities that have their own society. It's like their own little world, and nobody can hardly get in unless it's by official pass, or they can't go out, but they can go out, with permission, and then the spies follow them, and it's the total George Orwell state situation, and the lady that was involved with the video actually had to escape to France with her 4 children. She was then found guilty of espionage, representing foreign agencies, and so. But it's definitely worth read to. And it was a nuclear city, and so the nuclear. It was, in other words, it was their Los Alamos. This was brought together in the time of Stalin, and so interesting. I just a few weeks ago saw a documentary on Stalin, and I get confused between these dictators sometimes. I'm just making sure I'm saying the right name. Stalin, Stalin. He was the one with the thick mustache, right? And he came in, after Lenin died, and then anyway, he it was amazing because he destroyed all the farms in the Soviet Union. He literally destroyed farming, and this is one of the reasons all the people were starving in Russia. Like they had empty shelves. But what's interesting, the nuclear city was like state of the art. Even though they're prisoners behind these barbed wire, borders, they literally had the best of everything. Because they had the scientists there. They had all the, the support mechanism for a community and for. So at its peak, it's like 60,000 people, including those who are retired, that stay in the city. But the slave labor, if anybody could no longer work in the slave labor camp, they were shot. Okay, once you're done with your slave labor, you're shot because nobody gets out. Nobody gets out to tell about the city. The cities do not exist officially. But when Boris Yeltsin took over, the Soviet Union in its great charade collapsed. Presto Magico, and then Gorbachev, was no longer the head of the Soviet Union. Then Boris Yeltsin takes over Russia, and that's when the cities, for the first time, are put on the map. But it was a profound read. It's important to study these things because it will give you an idea of what we're in. We're just in a more state-of-the-art pastel color show. It's the same game. You need a passport to go out of the nation, don't you? You need a passport. Right? You need your papers, please, when you're driving down the highway. Well, driving's a commercial term, and they got you in commerce. But you're never driving. You never drive unless you're in an 18-wheeler or a service vehicle or a taxi cab. You don't drive. You ride. Do you go on a horse? When you go on a horse, do you drive or do you ride? You ride the horse, right? You don't drive the horse. If you're in a wagon and you're hauling goods, then you're driving a team of horses, right? You're not riding them anymore. You're driving. You see, and that's how these terms get convoluted, And I got Teresa calling in on the phone here. I bet she doesn't know I'm on the air. Let's find out. Hey, Teresa, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing okay. We're on the broadcast right now. Were you calling in live, or were you just calling in to follow up?
Just calling to just follow up.
Okay, so we can talk later. We were just want to make sure you're doing okay. We know you're toughing it out like most everyone else is here, and so Ninja and I just took it upon ourselves to call you the other night to make sure you're doing all right. You want to join us on the chat, or we're just going to talk later on? We can talk later.
I'll talk later.
All right, Teresa, be well, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Desert.
Tag, I'm it. Right, it's my turn. Okay, I'll call you back.
Can you give me your is
All right. All right. Bye-bye. Live on the air, ladies and gentlemen. All right. See, we get a caller and it just doesn't work. I can't get over it. So, you need to call in. That's your problem. You never call in, and then when you call in, it's the wrong number. Okay. So, but that's all right. We're going to get a caller generated program here because, we've got answers. We don't have all the answers, but we do have answers, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And by the way, if you sign up for Netflix, you get the first month free. So literally, you could watch that video, that documentary, and not be out of pocket. You get 30 days free to test drive Netflix. So that's a pretty good deal. So check them out. All right. And so I've got so I'm going to do questions and answers first because I've got some follow up with. Just Love has 2 questions from the other program that were in the chat that never got responded to. And okay, Yochelleg, thank you for that. That's good. And I'll hold on it just a little bit to make sure we're in time on that. Okay, so and then and then we're going to do words. And I actually have a word for zealot. Okay, because I found it interesting. Meditating on that word a little bit, I saw a little deeper meaning in the word zealot, and it's being that we're not used to it, it almost sounds we think anyway. The zeal, the prime root is the word zeal, but it's interesting where we find this word somewhere else in nature, and then it puts it in really good perspective. So it's really a cool name now that I have looked at it further. And that's what we have to do. We have to look at these things, ladies and gentlemen, meditate on them, and all of a sudden something opens up because words. Ashavors are flowers. Okay, they are flowers, and they're hiding so much within them, and it's all relevant to determining whether a word is a good word, a positive word, or whether it has negative by reading its root forms. Okay, because words are not what you think, and words are not supposed to control you because you are supposed to be in control of the Ashavors, the words. All right, and so Just Love, good to have you, and we've been missing you the last couple programs, but I saved these for you because I don't think there should be any question unanswered, and we should try to help everybody else out there that's trying to wrap their mind around the great enigma of who are we, where are we, why are we, and when are we, and what are we going to do about it? Because there's a bunch of people, they're coming to kill us, or actually they've already killed us, right? They killed us legally. They killed us. They're killing us with the air. They're killing us with the water. They're killing us with the food, the frankenfood. They're killing us in the hospitals. They're at the doctors. It's just it's beyond our wildest dreams that anything we could have ever ended up in this scientific movie like this, right? While we always grew up going to watch those scary movies, and we just thought it was really cool, but now we found out that the joke was on us. Really, they were really telling us all along what they're going to do with us, right? The great, or as they called America, which I always wondered about that one. Bush Senior always used it a lot. America, the great experiment. Well, wait a minute. Let me see. Freedom is not an experiment. Freedom is a legitimate natural right. There's no experiment there. But what they meant was you are the experiment. They're experimenting on you. And so just like with that nuclear city, right? Just like with the nuclear city. Well, listen to the word, okay? And Carolina Sky Astronomy, good to have you. And I checked out your channel, and you have one fantastic array of videos. I've got to go check some of that out. He's got graphics of all the the solar system and Saturn and all that. And I haven't even got a chance to watch one of them yet, but I recommend everybody check out Carolina Sky Astronomy. He's got quite an array of graphics there and some really interesting information. So check it out and subscribe to his channel. But look at the word nuclear. Okay, it's 2 words. I'll type it in. I don't know if I can spell nuclear correctly, but I was educated by the government school system, so I may get the spelling wrong. NEC. This LA, or this is how I spell it, but it doesn't matter. You know what this is going to come out to be here, and I'm right. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. It's got a spell check. If it's got a spell check, I can actually do it right. Look at that. No, it's not even making an offer. No, it's new. Oh, I get it. Wait a minute. And you, hang, I think I got it. And you, there. I think I'm getting close. No, it's still not close. And you, somebody spelled nuclear on there. Yeah, you got it. You already got it, Just Love, right? CLEAR. I think I got it. I think I got it right here. Boy, I got to get a dictionary out. No, I got it. I figured it out. Thank you. Here we go. Nuclear is nuclear. Yeah, how did you know that, Just Love? Huh? You've been listening in, of course, but you're smart too. Smart pants dance. Okay, all right. And so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the idea of nuclear. It's the nuclear. It's the way to get rid of the problem. And they did it like with Fukushima, right? That was sabotage. That was a 007 James Bond scenario using HARP technology, and there was color in the skies just the day before, something like that. For a couple hours, there was rainbow colors in the sky showing the effects of ultrasound of some sort, and then they had the tsunami, and so. Where they're using. Why did they put all the nuclear plants on the beach or on fault lines like in Del Mar, California, right on the beach, right on a fault line? So we're really in trouble. And Margarita G, good to have you. So they've literally created the scenario where our world was doomed to implode upon itself. It was total suicide, and I try to. So I've been the past week or so. I was assessing again. Why, they would want to suicide the world, because it seems like they're doing it to themselves at the same time. But remember, they hated Yahweh. They hate the Father. Okay, they admit that they serve the blind goddess, the whore, the mother whore, and known as Lucifer in a metaphor. It's not a real, being that flies around through the air with boobs in a dress doing damage. It is a idea found in the minds of men that have created this. It's like a corporation. Once you create it, it has a life of its own. It just doesn't stop. It's a priesthood. Okay, it's occultic, and but it literally means the true cipher. It's loose cipher. Lucifer is loose cipher, and it means the true cipher. And the cipher is their code. It's their dress code. It's their religious code. It's their occultic code. Their oaths, their handshakes, and it's the men in dresses. They're the there's the woman right there. The men in dresses, ladies and gentlemen. This is a corporation planet. Good way to put it, zealot. And so we're the reason this clique. You see, this clique could never do the right thing, because they have been running the world behind the scene as the unseen hand, the hidden hand, for 10,000 years. And so to suddenly say, okay, we're tired of being bad guys, let's be good guys, it wouldn't happen. It couldn't happen, because then all of a sudden the independent or the puppet states, that are all serving the beast. Once the beast just said, oh, we didn't mean it, we're done with that now. Then all of a sudden, then everybody would be looking at them. And saying, wait a minute, you've been playing the game on us all of these, thousands of years, and now, we know who you are, and they would go kill them. They would expose them, tear them down, or the world would then really become independent, and free thinking, and that's why they have to continually take people out, like the president of Panama. I think in the 1950s, the CIA, took him out because he gave all the corporation land back to the peasants. And then the United Can Company, that's the CIA. United, there's the United Companies, wherever you see United, like United States, United Nations, United Companies, United Airlines, United Pictures, United, it's that's them, okay? But it has a double meaning, because it also means the united, because they're dealing with the united, and that's us, And they take out Gaddafi, who was actually from all the Islamic states. Libya, what does Libya mean? Liberation. And literally he gave everybody free education, a free house, or he gave all that stuff to them. And his mother and father were the last ones to get out of a tent. He said, my mother and father will live in a tent till everybody else has a home. He was bringing in the water from deep underground, to make a paradise out of Libya. And he protected women's rights, and that's why he was protected by women guards. And so he had to be taken out. So that's a perfect example of how the one world order will demonize somebody and take him out when they don't go along with the program, you see? And of course he was also going to set the gold standard with the African nation. So he was going against the banksters. I guess he just forgot, who they really were, or got up on the wrong side of the bed one day. He just didn't realize what he was doing. Because he betrayed the one world system, and therefore they took him down. So there's nothing they can't do. They run the world, but Yeshua gave everybody free will. Okay, free will. So therefore he lets things happen to play out on earth. But, if we make a connection with them, guess what? That changes our paradigm. Okay, Linda J., good to have you on the broadcast. It changes our paradigm, all right? So anyway, and that's the good news. So with all the bad news, we got good news. We can make a connection. We can know who we are, where we are, when we are, why we are, and what we can do about it. And but it's about knowing about who he is and where he is, and he's everywhere. There's nowhere that he's not, and why he is, and how it all began. All of that stuff can be known, ladies and gentlemen. It is meant to be known. The nature and the universe was designed with the ability to read it and to interpret the symbolism. It's speaking. Nature is speaking. The mother is speaking for the father. She's carrying the baby. She's carrying the metaphor. She's carrying the symbols. Okay, and so Just Love had. Two things in the chat. Let me see, which one should I do first? Okay, so you had a question. Is faith / fae correlated to Sophia? So I'll type those words in here so people can better see it. And remember that Confucius said, I hear and I forget, but I see and get the picture, and then I remember. Okay, where's that quote? I don't want to forget that. There it is. Okay. So got all my notes in front of me. My desk is covered with 3x5 cards. And it's a real scientific office over here. Okay, so let me type this in. Faith, and then Phay, Phay, and then Sopphia, and then that becomes Shool, Shool, Phay, like that. Okay? And so faith is the Fae, but they corrupted it with the F, and the Fae represents the virgin light. The Phay is the eye of creation. Okay, you read it backwards. The AY is EYE, which is corruption, and then PH becomes creations. Okay, so there it is. AY, so it's the eye of creation. The woman, it's the virgin light. Mary represented her, the virgin light, when she brought forth Yeshua, because she brought forth the pure one, the perfect one that came from the beginning, from the Ancient of Days, from the beginning, the first atom. Okay, and so faith is Fae, but then so you can see there, Sophia is a compound word and has the Fae in it, and it is the Shulfeya. Shulfeyal. It actually would be correctly SHOOL, Phay, PHAYAHLL, like that. You see, Shulfeyal. So you see, Sophia, as we talk about, the words are abbreviated. We see within it the structure of the original thought, and then we rebuild it. Because if you look at what's called Sanskrit, or if you look at German, they got words 20 and 30 letters long. In India, they got words that are 40 letters long, because that's how it was in the beginning. And so this is where the abbreviation comes into play. Just look at those words in India, right? Just like Vimanika Shastra, or, I don't know. I was going to say Inagata Davida. That was a group that sang that one. But anyway, you know what I'm saying, that the words were big. So Shul is knowledge. And when we talk, what do they interpret Sophia as? Wisdom, right? But we can see the literal sense right here in Shul Feya. Okay, so it means the knowledge of the virgin light that goes round. Yal is the dial. the ya. See, and it's Yalov. There's the word yellow comes from is Yalov, and so Shulfeyal. Okay, Shulfeyal, the knowledge of the eye of creation that goes round. Okay, and yeah, well, no education. It is the enlightenment. The light goes off. Education is remove, right? So we're not removing. We are enlightening, and that's the difference because ed means to remove, and that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to write this stuff down, take notes, because that way you can, when you see it or you don't want to forget it, and then it'll have bearing on you later on as you meditate on these things, okay? And Ninja says, wow, that's why I was disappointed when I heard that the Pope was claiming to be Jesus, because I thought they were going to use Sophia. Okay. Not sure what you meant there, but that's okay, Ninja. Good to have you on the broadcast, and everybody else coming on. Okay, so the other question from Just Love was, what is pent? And or penance. I guess you said pent and then penance. I try to write it down exactly. And then you said as in serpent. Oh yeah, what is the pent in right? And so okay, so let me type these words in here. So pent. Right. Well, okay. So serpent. Well, let's put serpent first. But serpent is, really doesn't have a T. It's serpan. So SERPAN, and then that becomes fan, PHANN, which we then find as fan, FAN. Okay, and so you see, and so it is the suffix of the word sharfan, and sharfan goes back to the sun, and it is the sharp fan, the sharp, like in other words, you can't look at the light, right, because it's so sharp. You see, that's what it's referring to. Like when you polish steel and you put a razor's edge on a sword, it's sharp, and it's the sharp, and so it's the sharp fan. The fan is the philfot. It's the swastika. It is the power source. It is the fan. It is the generator generating, and the light particles are spinning coming down. Okay, so fan, FAN is fan, correctly PHANN. The F is a corruption. Hiding the pH, that's how they work the code, so you'd never get the picture. And an is the prime root of harvest. It would be ana. It means harvest, but it's showing that it's blowing out. And it was Glenn Keely who said that, and I'd have to look at it a little bit, but he was saying that what was it, Philfot? When you do the anagram, you get tough life. Because it means we're subject to the aspect of walking, or excuse me, working, working as a slave on this earth. And then you can see the word fan. Okay, here it is. Ready? FAN in PAN, which becomes PANTS, right? The pants, the fan. So the pants, because you are the fan. You are a generator. You are walking, and your walking is the fan. You see, and you are the serpent. You are the serpent. That's what we talk about. Okay, so all these words. This is how they all come down the pike. From the beginning, it all goes back to the light. Okay, all goes back to the light. And so literally, the best way to illustrate is like this: POWERNMOVEMENT. Movement. There we go. Power and movement. That's what it means. Okay, power and movement. The fan, and we see that we get hot. We want a fan blowing on us, right? And but yet it represents the light in the primordial sense. So Just Love, thank you for share your participation and putting out questions like that. Remember, if anybody has a comment or a question, then please put my name. Title is the correct word. Actually, we don't want a name when we know the real meaning of that. But put it in all capital letters, okay? And then I'll see it there, upper and lower case on the comment or question, okay? And so I just saw here, Teresa had a question. I could have answered it for her when she was on the phone, and I didn't even realize that she. Well, if you're here, Teresa, or if you're listening in, you can come on. And I've got the one. How would you break down Trinity? Okay, and I'll wait till I know we got you, and then we'll answer that question. So there's another one I missed. Okay, and okay, so we have a question on Skype, and want to welcome any new listeners out there. That way, good to have you. And yeah, thank you, Zealot, for that. Okay, and any new listeners, you're hearing this for the first time? Well, then you're hearing this for the first time, and you're like saying, okay, where did this guy come from? Where is he coming from? And so you just have to listen to a bit of the program. We I have a lot of I have 100 hours now on Forbidden History Live, 100 hours of broadcasting approximately, and we blow the whistle on so much nobody else is talking about. We go nowhere no one else is, and it's not a brag, it's just a fact. Okay, we're just giving the facts here about that, and the irony and the beauty in the instance of that is that the lies are so great. The lies are so great that he would take a high school dropout. Of course, I was smart enough to know I wasn't learning anything. That's why I dropped out. And I knew none of these people cared about me, not my parents, not my teachers. I said, I'm out of New Jersey, and I went on to get my enlightenment, and I had a vision to walk across America. But, okay, you are here. That's Teresa right there. Way to go, Teresa. Glad to have you. And, okay, I'm going to do this question on Skype first. And where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, that it's so bad because the entire world has been deceived. So doesn't it make sense that somewhere down the pike, he would unload his truth on somebody to give them the ability to see and read it for himself, right? And to be able to know, because here's that big lie again. In case you hadn't heard this one before, we talked about the different ways they lied to us about the four elements. That's one way they lied to us about money. That's another way they lied to us about the law and all that. And so another one is when we go to school, what do they tell us? We have five senses. What? We have five senses? No, wait a minute. We see right out the gate they lied to us. We don't have right out the gate. We don't have five immediate senses. We have six. Remember, six is the number of creation, right? Not five, six. And so we got smell, we got taste, we got touch, we got hearing, and let me try that again. I'm trying. Sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. Okay, to five. But wait a minute, there's one more. Anybody want to put it in the chat? Do you think you got it? Okay, I'll tell you. It's the ability to reason. To reason. That is your sixth sense. That is your most important sense. You could do without one of the others, but literally you need to have the ability to reason, or you're twice DOA. You're DOA, in the grave if you can't reason. If you're brain dead, that's in comatose, right? And so the ability. So they lied to us. And so you see. So not only do I identify not just with six senses, but the Father gave me another one that just was an amazing thing. Because he showed me through pattern that it was true, and he gave me the ability to know something, and not even know why I knew it, And I'd say, I know this is the way it is, and and I don't have anything to go on, but I know this is the way it is. And then within a day, or by the weekend, within a week, usually, I found the book or I found the documentary, and there it was, and so the Father showed me the pattern that I could see something and know something was in a certain way, even without, having, open. That's called intuition. I think that's the seventh sense, and then there's more. These are the gifts of the Spirit. The prophets. So they're just here to make a profit, because the original word for prophet is star navigator, and so we a star navigator knows the way back home, and he can navigate by the stars of that are telling the story about life. That's what the stars were about, not about astrology. It was talking about the one who would come at the end of time, and it starts at the beginning of the alphabet, which is the bull, which is really the pyramid that Orion is pointing to with his bow and arrow, and so yeah, they don't talk about that either. So okay, so I have a question here in my Skype. Let me take a quick sip here, and hope everybody's doing okay out there. It's a tough world, but we're gonna get through it, aren't we? Sure. We have no choice, to fold. When nobody was talking to me, I just literally wanted to get a rope. And when I had nobody to talk to, and I knew all this stuff, and it's like, nobody cares, Father. Why did you give me all this? And then there's nobody there. You're welcome, Just Love. I'm here to serve, and grateful for your participation. That's the one thing we want here is interaction. We're hoping to have a caller-generated program. People call on Skype. Skype is Forbidden History Live. 3 words, Forbidden History Live, and we can have a conversation. It's a lot easier sometimes to, and then you can do your follow-up, okay? So, okay, here's the question from my, this is from our Yochelleg, and a question from my friend. I didn't get the Aryan race. I didn't get the Aryan race that Yeshua is Aryan, blue-eyed, blonde hair. I didn't get the Aryan race. I don't know how to interpret that properly. Let me think about that. Or maybe it means I don't get the Aryan race thing, and that Jesus is Aryan and blonde hair, blue-eyed. Okay, in our fake history from school, Hitler did not kill anyone who was blonde and blue eyes, and killed the Jews because they had dark hair and dark eyes. He said Aryan race was superior. At that time, the Germans, but just want to point out when you said that he did not kill any blonde hair, blue eyes. Everybody on the other side that had blonde hair and blue eyed that got killed, he killed. So Aryans were on both sides, and therefore it is Montesquieu who wrote the book, The Spirit of the Law, in France around 1700, and he was obviously an insider, because he said in his book, The Spirit of the Law, he says that all the wars for the last 2,000 years have done nothing other than to serve as depopulation programs for one another's nation. Okay? Like we said, all the royal families are related. They're all kissing cousins, but one speaks German, one speaks French, one speaks Russian. Well, they're bilingual, they speak several because they're all interrelated. And then they all put lines in the sand and pretend they're enemies of each other. And then they put the stupid people on the front line. You go out there and, they put red coats on them. I like the one in England. They put red coats on them, hoping they never come back. Try hiding behind a tree with a red coat, let alone they marched them in a straight line, drumming the drum and carrying their flag, and walk right in the face of bullets. You want to talk about fools? Huh? I'm telling you. That's the only reason. There you go, Zealot. It's the truth, because, like it was D-Day, Normandy, right? I mean, of all things, you got an entire cliff up there on the beach of Normandy on D-Day. All the Germans are in concrete bunkers with machine guns and cannons, and right, and so they're going to land on the beach right in front of all that. And before they could even get out of the landing craft, they literally killed the entire group that was in that in one landing craft. And then try running across the beach, dodging lead. Right? How about this? How about we go around the other side, or we or we just parachute behind the lines and come at them from behind. But no, they're gonna race tens of thousands of men against machine gun nests and say, go climb up there and take them out. I mean, they didn't even give them shields. At least give them a steel shield like they did in old warfare, right? So you could have the bullets bouncing off your shield, but they don't even give them a shield. Think about the insanity. You have to be insane. And they did the same thing in World War I. There was a profound movie about this runner from Australia, and then he was drafted. He was going to be the fastest man in the world, and then he gets drafted into World War I, and he goes to Turkey. And that was the thing. The Turks had all their machine gun nests, just like the Germans did in World War I, World War World War I in particular, but also World War II. And then he in the end of the movie, he's told he's got to run out and run and try to go take out those machine gun nests, and he gets shot halfway going up there. This is how they do it. This is the game. You'd have to be the biggest fool, and they are. They're not so much fools as stupid, and because they were educated. They were educated, therefore they do what they're told to do. They're going to die for their mommy. They're going to die for the beast. My beast tells me to go, and I go. And this is why our spiritual knowledge is so significant, because the scriptures is telling us. It's telling us what the game is. And that they deceived the entire world. What part of deceived? And that's what my point was. That's why Yeshua has used somebody like me to bring so much of this to the table. I wanted to know. He put it in me. I wanted to know the truth, and I then when I had my daughter, that was my biggest inspiration. And it was like, wow, now I really got to get the truth, because I wanted to be able to give her that knowledge that is transcending. And because I realized that bringing her into the world was a double play. It was a bittersweet, because I was concerned about how she would suffer in this world, and and would she be able to transcend, and would she be alone and all that, and so that was my drive for pursuing this knowledge, because I wanted to give her the truth, but I wanted it, for myself as well, and so the truth is not a part of any lie. Okay, the truth is not a part of any lie. It says it in 1 John 2:27. But the anointing which you have received of him abides in you, and you need not that anyone teach you, because the same anointing teaches you about all things, and it is truth and not a part of any lie. And therefore, even as it teaches you, you will remain in it. You see? So it's truth and not a part of any lie. So it is possible to know that you know that you know. But you got to be know symbolism. You got to know etymology, lexicography. Be a linguist. You know history. You got to be a scholar. You got to hit the books. There's no time for all the other activities on this planet, because our job is to find out who we are, where we are, why we are, and where we are, and where are we going. And so it's a work. It's a full-time work, and I'm way behind the curve in this. Because I should have accomplished my objectives and pulled all this stuff together 20 years ago. But I was diverted at different times. Certainly persecution was my biggest ones, but then I just folded. You fold at times, like in the wilderness, right? 40 years in the wilderness, and finally you're crawling on the ground. You're putting your fingernails in the sand. You're just crawling, looking for that fresh water, that reason to live. And it's tough. It's tough to be able to make lemonade out of lemons, ladies and gentlemen, because lemons are sour and you can't drink it. But once you can add some water to it and put some sweetener in there, it's pretty tasty. So that's what we hope to do here for you. Okay, I have to pass it on. Whatever Yeshua's given to me, it's not, it wasn't for me, it was for you, in that true sense. He's like, he says, I give you talent, you go bury it in the ground, and you're in trouble, boy. And so I have to share this information. For me, it's life. It's the only thing I've got left that I can do. Okay, after they've taken everything from me. I had a house on a lake with a dock and a canoe, and miniature paradise right there in East Texas, and they all surrounded me and took me out, MI6 and the local flunkies there in Jacksonville, Texas. And it's been a tough road, but anyway, I am not complaining. I am just stating the facts as to this dilemma that I've been going through, and what it ultimately is about. It's about knowing, ladies and gentlemen. And yours was in Washington State, Zealot, right? Okay, yeah. So Zealot's got a story of his own. I remember some of his comments when he first jumped on one of our programs in chat. And same. Oh, you had a canoe in a lake too. Okay. See, nothing new under the sun. Oh, goes around, and amazing. Yeah, I did my upper body exercise every other day with the canoe. Then I ran around the lake up and down. It was amazing. But anyway, let me finish this question here. I don't want to hold up somebody that may have to go. So I just want to know the truth of that history part and the Holocaust, and about Jesus being Yeshua being Aryan. Yeah, because Jesus is not the correct term, and we don't have to get into that right now. But okay, well, the point is that Adam is the first made on Earth, and Adam was an archetype of the prototype or the duplicate. The right term is duplicate because so Yeshua was the first made in the universe, and then he is commissioned by Yahweh to make all things. Yeshua, in essence, is the first atom. He is the first made, and then he's represented by the great logo, which is the sun, which is the Garden of Atoms. Okay, and so so Adam, when he's made, that which is first, if there's a maxim that says that which is first is as that which is last, that which is last is as that which is first. And so therefore Yeshua is the first made in the universe. He made all things, and he is all things. And then when the earth is now formed, which came out of the sun, and then goes around the mother star to get nurse off the breast, okay, the solar rate, the solar food, the atoms continually flowing down the light, giving life to all things. Then but before anything was here other than the land and the water, as it says in our corrupted scriptures, first, second chapters, go read them. Then it says that he formed man, not from the dust of the earth, but from the fiery magma, the purified salts from the mother's breast, the volcano. And then he's taken up to the atom, to Eden, but Eden is the atom. Okay, that's the word. And the atom is the sun. Okay, and so you see the connection with the word atom and Adam, right? Okay, let me type it in here. Okay, we got to see things clearly. Okay, ATOM and is equal to not it's really not equal. That's the thing. ADAM/ADOM. Okay, so there you go. See, so the evidence of the corruption is in the D. So the atom has life. You can see the cross. The T is the cross. The AT is the alphabet, the alpha and the tau, the beginning and the end, and the Om is the sound. Om backwards is mother because it is creation that brings forth sound. And then the atom, well, the D, even though it says add as in addition to multiply, but there is the D for the symbol of death. Unlike the T in atom, which is the symbol for life, the D in the atom is the symbol of death. And so didn't he have death coming his way? Because he fell from the atom of light and came down into the lower garden. And you see, and that's what you have to, the way you got to read it. He said he was taken out of the Eden, which is the atom, and he was placed in the garden. So this is the lower garden. That's the garden up there, the garden of light. Okay, and that maintains all things in our solar system. And so I want to give you another example of another word to show about. Remember that they said that Thomas meant the twin. This is the false narrative. Let me show you here. Don't type anything yet. THOMAS is correctly TOMA, which is an anagram for ATOM. Okay, see, Thomas is Toma in the Aramaic, and Toma, when you put the A in front, what do you get? Atom. And so what was Thomas known as? The twin, but he wasn't the twin. He was the duplicate. You see, the duplication of creation. But that which has a beginning has an end. And so that's where death reigns, because physical creation is the illusion, but our spirit, which was placed into the house of our body, is eternal. Okay? Not eternal, ETERNAL, but ATURNAL. Okay? It's eternal. Why? Because the A is a compass. And when you use the architect's compass, you create a circle at the bottom, and it keeps going around. The symbol for eternity is the O. Okay? That's the cycle of the, there's no beginning, no end. You see? And so we have to interpret the symbols correctly. Okay? And so I'm getting a comment here, am I? And, okay. Did I miss something? 846? 946. Okay, yeah, I think I'm okay. Somebody was Oh, I'm getting multitasked over here. Okay, so let me see if I can finish this question here. So I didn't. Let me read it one more time. I didn't get the Aryan race thing, and that Yeshua is Aryan, blue-eyed, blonde hair. Okay, so the point is, so that Adam is just like Yeshua is the first made in the universe. Adam is the first made on earth before anything else is made. There's only water and land. That's what our scripture says. Go back and read it. And so then he's taken up to the throne of the Son. And so while Yeshua is going to create all of our creation over the 4 billion years of history that we can evidently see on the map, and we can do later on in the program, we'll do that horse with no name again with all that beautiful graphic. And you tell me that the Earth is only 6,000, 8,000, 10,000 years old, when with the graphics we're going to put up later on, because we can see the history. The Earth is billions of years old. It's actually approximately 4 billion years old, and it was made in 6 great ages, not 6 24-hour periods, 6 great ages, and that's what period means. Period, great age. Peri means great, and yud is the dot, which is representative of star, and it means age. Okay, they didn't teach you this stuff in school, did they? Of course not. They didn't want you to know this stuff. So, so the fact is that that Adam comes last, right? Just like Yeshua. Yeshua is the first made in the universe, but he's going to come last, and that was 2,000 years ago at the end, as it says in Hebrews. Okay, let me just show you, because I don't want to. I got to find it here, Hebrews, real quick. Okay, I'm getting close. Chapter, what is it? Chapter 16? No, I don't have 16 chapters in here. 11. Okay, here it is. Okay, 9:26. And if these things were not so, then Yeshua would have been obligated to suffer many times from the beginning of the world, or we could say from the beginning of the creation. But now, at the end of the world, now at the end of the world, that's 2,000 years ago, the end of the world, only once by his sacrifice did he offer himself to abolish blindness. That's what sin is. It's blindness, to put away blindness so that we can see and read things for ourselves and get a direct connection from the one who's above, and bypass all these liars, these beaters, and these cheaters, and these robbers of our truth, you see? So the end of the world was also just simply the end of an age, of a time of darkness for the golden age of light and the age of the second born. And so it was Yeshua and with Yahweh that they made the decision that the race that came last would be the race that Yeshua would come through, a pure line, okay? And the pure line, in other words, the point, and I was amazed when I saw this 6 years ago, because I never followed this, and nobody, I never heard. This is what opened up to me. I could see it clearly. When you realize that man has been here for hundreds of thousands of years, we have all the evidence of the Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, Paracus, Dravidic, the Asian, what we call Asian, but that that's a misnomer. All these other races where clearly the Aryan didn't have the same parents as the African, right? The African didn't have the same parents as the Aryan. The Cro-Magnon didn't have the same parents. The Neanderthal didn't have the same parents. They all different races had a different parent. The difference was they were primordial and primitive. And just like with Yeshua, the knowledge came at the end of time, at the end of the world. Well, the race that was going to bring the salvation knowledge of who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, came also at the end of all the other creation. You see, it was the Aryan race that was to bring forth the baby, so to speak. But the problem was they were also in the fall too. You see, he was made perfectly by design and by quality, and that's where this terminology, when you hear them talk about aliens, and they say sky gods, sun gods, well, no, that's the Aryan. because the blonde represents the flowing light of the sun, the white skin represents the white of the stars, the blue eyes represent the blue of the sky. There's your sky god quality, your the sun gods, or as Jacob means, Jacob is Yochelleg, and Yochelleg means the seed of the sun that go round, the seed of the sun that go round. You see, we were told that we were supposed to be like the stars of the heavens, right? Okay, and so we have to put on that light. And so the Aryan race had the obligation to bring truth to the rest of mankind, to say that we were all products of light and that we fell into the darkness and therefore we can transcend. But instead, because they had that knowledge that they inherited from their father Adam, he was the bright one. He was the one who so when he's taken up to the throne of the sun and Yeshua is making all things, well, guess what? He's naming all things, because it said that after he breathed into him the gnosis, he wanted to see what he would call them. And so the only way he could name them is if he understood how they all worked, okay? And so that's the great mystery. That's the big lie. That's what they've been hiding from us, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And so so I'm going to answer this question one more time, then I'll be with you, Teresa, okay, and your question next, and then we'll go to a break, and then we'll come back with the story about Isaac being the perfect sacrifice. And here's the Aryan race, and he's going to show how to be a perfect sacrifice, and it was just a test, and but it was also a sign of what was to come at the end of time 2,000 years ago. They don't even teach this stuff at the pulpit. It's rather interesting. Okay, so in our fake history from school, Hitler did not kill anyone. Okay, so anyway, Hitler was promoting Aryanism. And he inherited the philosophy and tradition through the ancient Aryan Brahmin priesthood. And in the 1930s, and you can go find a YouTube showing all this, in the 1930s, his officers went to northern India and Tibet and received the technology of the turbine engines and the anti-gravity Mercury vortex engines. Okay, the what we call UFOs today. It's all an open secret, ladies and gentlemen. There is no secret, okay? It's just that people forget. They don't do the homework. They don't study. They don't research, and they want everything spoon-fed to them. And they just repeat whatever they've heard. They never learned anything. Never got a revelation. Never got a vision. And then they think they know something. And so, but the bottom line is that what Hitler was doing, and they were creating the anti-gravity Vimanas. They created the turbine engines, and they almost could have won the war, but of course it was stacked against them because it was all Vatican designed. The Vatican, is the one. That's why the Jesuits wrote Mein Kampf. I even know the guy's name. I just don't have it in front of me. The Jesuits wrote Mein Kampf for Hitler, and so I hope I answered your question out there in California, and you just want to know the truth about our history and the Holocaust. The Holocaust, everything, as I said earlier, is a depopulation program. What did Hitler do? Every community he went into, he destroyed all the Protestant churches. The Protestant, not the Catholic. All the Catholic cathedrals, for the most part, were left alone because he's working for the Vatican. He's a Vatican agent, and so they're killing, they're depopulating. Notice that Switzerland was, quote, neutral. No, Hitler wanted to conquer all of Europe, but he didn't go take out the banking institutes of Switzerland, okay? And so it was, so the Jews that were killed primarily were the Sephardic, not the Ashkenazi, who are the Khazar, the Khazarian Jews, the 13th tribe, but they killed any final remnant of what might be the original Israel that was part of the dispersion that didn't go back home but were spread out around Europe and Asia. The ones they killed in the concentration camps were not the Khazars. The Khazars were part of the program, just like they were part of the takeover of Russia. It was the Sephardic, but any of the Jews that they had captured, they were using them for slave labor. They wouldn't just exterminate them. They needed their labor. That's what all the prisoners were doing. Only, when they couldn't work anymore, then they would have killed him, But I saw the report. I had actually the prison camp reports from out of Switzerland, and I wish I would have saved it. I can't get over. I deleted it when I had it 15 years ago, and in there it was something like 50,000 people died in the prison camps. 50,000, not 5 million. Okay, that's the perpetrated lie by the bogeyman. You know what I mean? Okay, and so anyway, it's the truth is stranger than fiction, ladies and gentlemen, and we have to make sense out of all these things. Okay, so I hope that helped answer your question. It was a long one, and so now with Teresa, let me get a sip of my drink here so I can appease my throat. Hang on. Okay, Teresa, I hope you're still there. I get long-winded. I probably lost her already. Okay, so how would you break down Trinity? Okay, and then we're going to go to a break. Question. Okay, how would you break down Trinity? So Trinity, it's interesting, even in the Matrix, Trinity was in the Matrix, right? And Neo means new, and then you rearrange the letters, you get Eon for age, and so all of that is in, and one, O-N-E, and of course one, meaning the one, the play of the one. You're the one, Neo, you're the one. See, all those code words are in there, 3 words in one. And so the Trinity is the knowledge of the 3, because 3 is required in creation, just like the atom has the 3 components, right? The atom itself has what, the neutron, the proton, and the I never studied atomic physics, so but there's 3 elements, right? And so it's like sun, earth, and moon, right? It's the same thing, all going around in this creation. And so the Orion's belt has 3 stars, telling us that things happen in 3. And we even see that in phenomena of nature, right? We say that things happen in 3s, and maybe that's a supernatural fingerprint of the Great Spirit trying to get our attention. That people notice that was something that's a phenomena in nature. So the 3 is the same word as tree, because the 3 are the tree of knowledge, tree of life, is the sun and moon. The sun is the tree of life, and the moon is the tree of knowledge. But yet it's the opposite is true as well. The sun is the tree of knowledge, and the moon is the tree of life. And see, so there's this duality within all of these structures of nature, and so the sun and moon come together, and they create life in the bridal chamber on Earth. They're making love. Sun and moon are making love and create life. Without either one, you can't have life. And then that we got people like David Icke, aka David Rockefeller. David Icke, who got everybody to think that some aliens made the moon. Give me a break. The moon came out of the sun. The moon is a product of Yochelleg. And because you could not have had life on Earth without a moon and a sun, they go together. Okay, and but any crazy idea will get people going, because they can't process this stuff because they're not connected with the one, and so they're not centered, and therefore whatever sounds good, feels good, they pick it up and they start regurgitating it because they don't know, and they can't begin to know how to process, because they left off the one who made all things, and it's the one who made all things is the one who reveals all things. So you have to get connected, ladies and gentlemen. So the tray is the 3 and the tree. See, all those words are one. Tray, tree. I'll type it in there so we can get the picture. Okay, tray, Tray, tree, and okay, and then we could see the Trinity. Okay, Trinity. So that's they're all relative terms. They come back from the prime root in the Indo-Germanic. One word defines all of those things. Okay, so the Trinity then is or the 3 is Father, Son, Spirit, or we could say Father, Mother, Son. Okay, all relative in the great mystery of life and creation. Okay, and you know what? I thought maybe we could look at that horse with no name right now, since I said, I mentioned the age of the Earth. Shelley, let's throw on. I need a good break anyway. The horse with no name. Thank you. And I want everyone to take a closer look at that planet Earth in Arizona and Utah, and tell me that the Earth isn't billions of years old. Made in 6,000, 8,000, 10,000 years. They're all saying those things, and just look at the evidence. Okay, we have beaches in the top of the Himalayan mountains, beaches at 14,000 feet in the Himalayan mountains, with seashells on it. 14,000 feet in the air. That's what 2.5 miles up in the air. Took billion years to get there, easy, so. Just think about it, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And you're tuned in right here to Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it. And the grace of the Father is great. I don't deserve to know that I know, but nonetheless I do. And therefore I want to get it to you, because it says that where there is no vision, the people perish. People perish for a lack of knowledge. So it is knowledge that can save us, by knowing who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, and what are we going to do about it, huh? Okay, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Then we'll finish up with words, and then we'll take a call from you, Ninja, and then we'll be into the story, because I don't want to procrastinate. We're going back into Josephus. We started when our program crashed. When was it? Sunday evening. Yeah, and so we're gonna pick it back up, and we're gonna show you that Isaac was the perfect sacrifice, and he went voluntarily, and he was a full-grown adult, and he was older than you think. Okay, so I'm glad you tuned in. You did tell your friends, right? Okay, and don't go away. We will be right back. Thanks for telling your friends, all right? Because you wanted to know, and therefore your friends want to know too. So we'll be right back. Horse with no name. Check out these pictures, ladies and gentlemen. Blow your mind.
Birds and rocks and things, there was sand and hills and rain. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz, and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. Desert, you can remember your name, because there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed, and the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The ocean is a desert with its life underground and the perfect disguise above. Under the cities lies a heart made of brown, but the humans will give no love. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain.
It is a war that has been waged against our minds, ladies and gentlemen. That is where the battle is. It's in the mind, and we have to be set free. You know, all my life they had me convinced that all the races of mankind came out of Noah, you know, who's correctly Nova, the new star, new age that they ushered in after the flood, and that all the other people of the world died. But then, of course, the truth is that the flood was not a literal global flood. It was local to the area where all of the activity was going on, which is in the Middle East and in the center part between Europe and Africa. And it was the Great Mediterranean Sea, 4,000 miles of a flood. It's still on the map today. Go look at the Mediterranean Sea. It means the sea in the middle of the land, Mediterranean, middle of the land. And that's why it said Peleg. Peleg received his name at the time that the earth was divided. You see, and how was the earth divided? Africa and Europe split apart, and the flood waters rushed in at the Strait of Gibraltar. Okay, and my state of New Jersey came on the map because the ocean levels dropped so dramatically when the Mediterranean and the Black Sea, it overflowed into the Black Sea, and the Black Sea became twice as big because of the flood, that the state of New Jersey came on the map. No doubt other places came on the map as well, you see? And so that's the Great Flood, and so therefore people survived all over the world. People survived, but things changed in the world, and they could see that. But most particularly, and when you read the ancient writings of all the different sources, you find out that that's how the legend of the flood, continued, because they're standing on the shore. That's why the place they call Tyre in Syria is not pronounced correctly. It's not Tyre. It's pronounced Tyr, because as you look at the little land that juts out onto the Mediterranean Sea, it looks like a teardrop, and that's what it is. Symbolically, it's a tear, crying for the civilizations that had died, that are under the waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Go look at the map. It's clearly the biggest flood that ever happened on the planet, clearly, and it's still there. And there's islands with cobblestone roads that go into the water. It's acknowledged that there's about 200 civilizations all over the Mediterranean basin, okay, and that it's illegal to go scuba diving in certain places off the shores of Turkey and Greece, because the civilization is right there underwater, and they don't want anyone going there. Okay, it's just the truth is stranger than fiction, and we've been lied to about everything. One lie, you have to have a million lies to support the first lie, and the first lie is who Yeshua is and who Adam is and was, okay, in the narrative. The bright one, the one who named all things, is the one who came to earth and gave us the knowledge to build pyramid civilizations that were so dramatic. It was like they said, how hard can we make this? To make it as hard as possible, like in South America, the polygonal structures, which we find all over the world, polygonal structures with hairline joints, right? Puzzle pieces coming together, and so this knowledge that gave the first great civilizations and the anti-gravity Vimanas, brought to us by the Aryan race, the sky gods, so that when they flew on top of a pyramid somewhere else in in central Mexico, those perfect pyramids there, I think with the Aztecs, and they have these platforms on there. You can imagine a silver craft landing on top, and then out comes this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white-skinned guy with tinsel gold, wearing all gold tinsel, and they say, bow down to your god, and they get him to think he comes from another star. Sure, you could get these primitives to think anything. They don't even have books back then. They weren't even allowed to read. Whatever you tell me is the truth. It's the truth to me. Okay, 2 + 2 = 5. Whatever you say, just don't kill me. Okay. And, so they had the best slaves back then, primitives. And so it's just amazing, ladies and gentlemen, what, how we've been lied to. We've been lied to about everything everything. So we have to then get a vision. We have to see and read things for ourselves. We have to consider that maybe what we've heard is not true, not correct, not complete, and totally misleading. How come they lied about the words, Adam and Eve? When you look in the Strongs, you find the other half of their names. Under Adam, you find Dick, D-I-C-H for dictum, dictionary, dictate, because he was the one who named all things. So he's dictating what the names of things will be. And then when you look up Eve in the Strongs, you find Chi, not Eve, but Chi, C-H-I, which is a corruption with the I for the A-Y, which will be then K. And so then we can see her name is really Keva. She's the cave, represented as a cave. But Keva means the fiery keys of the serpent, the fiery keys of the serpent. Sure, the woman is the serpent. Not only was Adam the serpent, but she was the serpent too, you see. But the man, he's got a serpent hanging on him that represents the serpent physically, literally. And then why is Lot, when you look in the Strongs, is his name Lotan? His name isn't Lot, it's Lotan. Why do they have to lie about such basic things? Basic. What are they hiding? You see? And so they even gave us a corrupted alphabet. They made it absolutely certain that we can never follow the trail home, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, if somebody took your road map and changed all the names on your road map, everything, how would you ever find your way home? You couldn't do it. You see? And this is the problem. It's a big problem because it's about life and death. It's about being set free from them, and seeing and reading it for yourself. So that's what we're attempting to do here, okay? And it's major work. It's a work, and there's no guarantee. You are the guarantor. You have to be the guarantor in your own soul novation, because as it says in the scriptures, if we do these things, you can be saved. But then if you don't do these things, then you forfeit your life. And so the stakes are high, and that's why paying attention and to hear some things you've not heard before is relevant. It's absolutely relevant. And so here we got some words, and so I found it interesting because I told Zealot I had saw something in his name, because it's like when we think of Zealot, even though it's a positive word, we think of how it was used in like the movies, and they talk about zealots, and they're a little crazy, because they want to go to war, with the Roman Empire, the zealots, right? They call them zealots because they were zealous of their tradition, right? They were zealous. And so it's actually a positive word because we see the word in there, zeal. And there's the word lot as well. There's lot, Lotan, but zeal. Okay. And so when I looked at that the other day, and then I suddenly thought, oh, wait a minute, that's a form of the word zeolite. Zeolite, wait a minute, zeolite comes out of the volcano, and when you take zeolite, the zeolite captures the toxins out of your body, and it purges the poisons out of you, And so I was amazed to realize that literally. So what come out when we talk about that we really came out of the volcano? And so what comes out of the volcano? The zealot, the zeolite. You see, the fiery. You're on fire because you have a passion for, and so whoever named zeolite, just like everything else they do, like, the turbine engine is the turbine. They wrap the turban on their head. There's the turbine, or the mag, the magi, the magi, well, in the 1960s, we had the souped up automobiles, and we had the chrome mags. They put the chrome mags, and the mag is, and the very, with the 5 chrome spokes, but the mag is at the middle. The mag, so therefore the magi is centered, you see? And so what these Zionists have done is they've taken ancient terminology and they brought it into modern time, and that's how it was opening up to me. That's how I saw a lot of it. And so it was like, okay, wait a minute, they're using these ancient words in our modern time. Like the grocery store in Texas I used to go to, HEB, and you put the royal symbol back in, the R, and you get herb, right? But literally when you take out the R, you get HEB, which the H is the word the, and then you get ebb. And so literally, what do they have in the grocery store? The ebb of life, the ebb and flow of life. All the things of the planet are found in the store. It's the ebb. You see, the tide coming in, the ebb and the flow. And so there's where the prime, root of the word herb, but then you put the R symbol, and then the herb becomes for healing, right? The herb specifically is for healing. It's not just regular produce. So zeolite, then I engineered it to the Indo-Germanic using the prime root forms, and then I got so maybe I should type it in there. Okay, so we'll see that. Okay, let me type this. So I thought this was fantastic. I'm sure Zealot is enjoying this. ZEALOT, and then we have ZEOLITE. Then we have TZAOLAYT. Okay, and then I'm going to type what it means. So hold on before you say anything. THEPOWER of the PRIMORDIALLYGHT. Boom. Okay, there it is. Zealot is directly correlated with zeolite, which pulls out the toxins, purifies the body, and then we have the prime root as zeole. Zeole, the T is silent on both ends. Wow, got a cross on both ends, zeole. And the zeole then literally means the power of the primordial light, okay? And so the Z is the power symbol. The AO are the prime letters of the alphabet. They're number one because the A is the first letter and the O is underneath. Remember, the A is a compass. The O, the compass creates the circle underneath. It's hiding. They're one letter. The A is the projection of light coming out, and the O represents the circle of the sun. And so they're one symbol in two different aspects. And then the LAY is the prime root of light, okay? And so the AO are the primordial, and the Z is the power, and the LAY is the light, or LAYT, okay? So there is your primitive in the Indo-Germanic. And so isn't that pretty cool? Zealot, huh? And would also literally mean, therefore, in the literal sense, zealot means, okay, here's what zealot means. ZEALOT means come from the FIRE. Boom. Comes from the fire. Okay, and what did I say? That we weren't made from red dirt. We were made from the purified minerals and salts of the fiery red magma. Yeah. There's a very close relationship there. Just love, certainly, and so put that feather in your cap, Zealot, and I hope you enjoyed that one. That was fantastic. See, if you never came on the program, we never would have saw that. And now I get a further evidence of what I'm saying about coming from the fiery magma. We find it in the very word zealot itself. Now we know where this derives from. Okay, and so a couple more words, and then we'll take a call from Ninja Cat 111 down under, or are we down under? Maybe she's on top. Maybe they lied to us about that too, right? Could be. They'd lie about anything. They'd make up lies just to have fun. To be good liars. The only place to be is here at Learning This. Yocheleg, thank you very much. Of course, if Yocheleg wasn't there, I wouldn't be here. So then none of us would be here. So okay, Marty Pants Dance. Okay, right. And so I have two words that also support the round earth principle. That is rather interesting because if you take the word word, okay. In other words, remember lantern. I said lantern. Okay, LANTERN means LANDTURNS. Okay, that's why they light the lantern, because the land turns. Because that's how original thought works. Just like the fir tree is really the fire tree, right? The fir, that's, see how they they removed us from the literal meaning, the picture. They hid the picture, and we think a fir tree, and we don't get a picture. We just think that's what they call it. But it is the fire tree, because the softwood with the turpentine in it is the first thing you need to make a fire when it's cold and raining. You can't make a fire with oak. You make a fire with softwood with turpentine in it, and it ignites, it explodes on fire. Then you throw the hardwood and the oak on top of it, and then you get a fire. You see, and absolutely, Just Love. This is my favorite game, and I love unraveling the mysteries, because this is the ultimate Indiana Jones right here. You can dig dirt and dig up clay pots, but the Ace of Wars are telling us the story of life. It's in the DNA, and by the way, the word atom, that first part, the AT is the alphabet, so that's the beginning. At the beginning is the communication. That's what Ace of War means. The royal eye at the center, the vortex, the royal eye at the center is the communication device. These Ace of Wars take us back. They confirm what we have been confused about if we can see and read it for ourselves. Okay. So that's okay, Ninja. It's okay. So WORD. If we add the royal letter L that they took an oath to, the obelisk, then we get WORLD. And then what does that mean? But SPIN. Okay. So word is world. So the world is speaking. The world itself, it constitutes symbols that are of a higher adic nature, that as we said, that animals, which are primates, animate, right? When you they are primals that animate, and so they tell a story about life, like the serpent itself, right? So the world, what is the world? What is it? How do you spell that? WHIRL, whirl, right? The world is the whirl. So the very word world itself means that it spins. You see? Yeah. Well, those are different aspects of the word that went in different directions for, and they they are corruptions in the sense of they're the I is not an original letter and is a corruption, and then the ward. In ward, so in word, right? In word, what's in a word? And so they say in word, just like they say backwards, backwards. Well, that's an interesting word because the word word is in it. So they're telling us we have to read words backwards, So yeah, there's these enigmas that way as well. And so then we got the word Ouroboros, which is the serpent eating its tail. So if you see the serpent eating its tail, what it means is the sun, which is the prime serpent, which is the cobra, the supporting power that supports life on earth. It's going around every day, around and around and around, and that's the serpent eating its tail every day, eating its tail every day. And then I saw in it for the first time today the deeper meaning. So I'm going to put that on the table now. ORABORAS, which is ORAV, because it's not an AB, it's an AV, VORASH, which means the YGHT of STARSCENTER of CREATION. Boom. Okay. Ouroboros is Ouroboros, and it is the light of a star, center of creation. The light of a star's center of creation. So that's the earth, you see? And so what is going around? The sun isn't going around. It's the earth that's spinning. The earth is going around. And so the earth is at the center of creation. You see? And it's the star's creation. We came out of a star. And that's what Ouroboros means by its literal sense. The AV is the prime root, as we said, for star, STAR, okay? And so when you see so it's not AB is the corruption, and And that's how the tricked us. That's how we could never find a way back unless we knew the trick and the trap and the trade, right? That's the deal. And so this is what took 40 years in the wilderness to have unraveled for me and to know the code. I know the code so finitely now. I would be surprised to find any other, root form that I wasn't, already privy to, because I've got 40,000 3x5 cards with my notes on them. I'll never be able to publish them, but I now know how to read, and that's the important thing. I can show you how to read, okay, because it is an exact science. You can know the science, and then you can see and read for yourself, and you won't need me anymore, okay? That's the beauty behind the fact it is a science, because it's not like, I'm pulling it out of thin air. No, it's a code. And you can learn how to read a code. We're dealing with two codes primarily. The code of the Indo-Germanic, which is the original form, parent root forms, 1-letter, 2-letter, 3-letter parent root forms. But then we're dealing with the occultic code from the Vatican, the bastardization of the original code. And so we're dealing with two universes. But it's just knowing the keys. That's what Yeshua said to the Pharisee. He says, you're holding the keys of the throne of the Son, and you're not going in, nor are you letting anybody else go in. Then what did he say to the followers when he asked them, who do people say that I am? And then Kephe, with the key, stood up and he says, you are the ASHAYAACH, not Peter, Kephe. You are the ASHAYAACH. And he says, endowed and enlightened with the mind's eye for seeing in the night are you, Kephe, because flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who rules from the throne of the Son. And I give to you. When he said I give to you, it wasn't just Kephe. It was to all of them. I give you the keys for unlocking the great mysteries. So what do you think the keys would be? But the ability to interpret symbol and metaphor, and most importantly, the symbols of the alphabet. Remember, they didn't speak the Hebrew in the square root. Only the scribes did, or the wealthy, or the priesthood. But the regular people used the common Aramaic, which was the alphabet we're using on the driver's license today. The AVG is the alphabet they were using, those letters, okay, until 300 AD, when the Roman Empire switched them out for the El Strangulo, when they strangled them. You see, it looks like Arabic. It looks like Arabic today, and it's not the original Aramaic. That AVG is the original script, okay? And one more word, just one more, and then we'll take a call from NinjaCat 111. But the word cinnamon, I thought was interesting. I put cinnamon in my tea, and then I was thinking of it. Wait a minute, cinnamon is, and I'll show you how literally on the surface, right? Words are speaking to us. So I hope I spell it right. CINNIMON. No, it's not right. Let's see if it gives me the correct spelling here. Oh, there we go. Okay, CINAMON. And then, but literally you can see it. It is the sin of man. Cinnamon, you see? And interesting, it looks like the word cinema, right? Cinema, then sin of the mother, Yeah, and Zealot, thank you for my name information. You bet, Zealot. It's a good one, okay? And yeah, so we all need to be zealous in this operation of knowing, ladies and gentlemen, because the time is short. I mean, come on. It hardly looks like we have a year left, and if we have 2 years, then we're going to see global starvation going down. And so, NinjaCat, give us a call, okay? We're ready to take it and hear what's happening down under, okay? So let me take a sip here. And don't forget, after we do this read from Josephus, then if you have another call, we'll do a part 3. Tomorrow we'll do, or what are we on, Thursday night? We'll do then Jasher. That'll be part 3. Because I know I get long-winded and all of a sudden I'm running out of voice. And so we will get Josephus, but then on Thursday, we'll do the book of Jasher, and that will be the cap-off, because Jasher is the biggest narrative on this entire story, Yeah, and
Stand by. Stand by. She's
okay.
calling.
All right.
Okay. Ninja?
G'day.
Good day.
Hang on, I just have to turn you guys down.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, g'day.
Okay. Hold on.
Okay, Ninja, are you there?
G'day, Desert. How's it going?
It's a good evening over here. Thank you very much. It's well, you know how it's going. You've been listening in.
I have.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Do I know how to roll?
Yes. You made me practically roll off my chair, Desert, with the wows.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I've learned how to roll with the punches, and so if you can roll with punches, then anything like this is a lot easier. It's been quite a journey for me, and I've had to. It's the sage's trail is filled with a lot of struggle, and you get kicked with a lot of cactus along the trail, but it's okay. People made fun of me for not being able to, they couldn't see and I didn't even know what I was doing 20 years ago. It's been a long process of unraveling this mystery, but I knew the trail was the right one. I knew it was where I needed to go. I knew that this was the answer, communication, and the original thought. But it's just amazing. The second 20 years was really where it really started all coming together. The first 20 years was just the opener, like, oh, I know we're being lied to. What's going on here? And I could see the lies, but I couldn't see the answers. And then the answers finally came, through the process.
Yeah, and they're still coming. The wow. The river is definitely flowing. Desert.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. I'm glad I got to call in at this moment. It was the perfect time. Thank you. I had a lot of trouble focusing at the start of the program because I had to get Mum ready so that she could go out and I could have a break. Yeah, so thank you. And I just want to say g'day and I love all of you. So I think that's the first time I've said that out loud. I love all of you in the chat. At the start, if I didn't, I was trying to say a general g'day to everybody. I didn't have time to do it individually. So I don't want anyone to think that I wasn't paying attention to them. So
you could say you love everybody. Maybe that's the way to say it.
I love everybody.
Yeah, we had a town on the coast of New Jersey. Used to love going to the beach, and I remember it was called Lavalette. I thought that was such a beautiful name. I never associated it with lava. At the time when I was young. But I remember it, and it was Lavalette, and so it means lava light. Lavalette is lava lay. And so Lavalette is lava light, you see.
That's beautiful. And it goes back to, I don't know if I pronounce it right. It goes back to Zealot. Is that how you pronounce it?
Zealot, yeah.
Yeah, that goes back to Zealot. There you go.
It goes back to zeolite, you mean?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've written some stuff down. Quick update. I don't know where to start. Right now, my struggle is extreme, and I just don't want to go. I don't want to get into it. I want to share it. I need to share it, but right now, I don't want to get into it. I just need to relax in every way, every chance I get right now, and just completely focus on the program when I can. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm okay. I'll get through it. I know what I need to do. Because if I keep going the way I'm going, I need to stop and gather my strength and just.
Yeah.
Whew,
well, you're doing the job 24/7 nonstop with no help and with a little not a little, but a lot of persecution on the side, from your mother. Number one, she's doing it incoherently because she's got mental breakdown in her own capacity to reason, and therefore you're being barraged by her, and then your sister also hates your guts, and therefore she's taking the money for other usage other than for the home and for the food, and you're taking the little money you get, and you put it back to the family, and you got nothing left when it's all said and done other than your own mental breakdown, because you cannot function 24/7 nonstop.
Yeah, there's two other things as well. Like, there's the constantly, like, apart from being constantly drained and exhausted right now, there's the dealing with the remembering things from my childhood while dealing with Mum losing her memory, and me being what you said. I can't think what you just said.
A targeted individual.
Yes.
A mental breakdown.
Dealing with all. Yes, there's dealing with all of that, and also at exactly the same time, everything is opening up, and it's just extreme wows everywhere, and it's a lot to take. Zealot
says, I spent 6 years taking care of my grandmother 24/7, slept maybe 1.5 hours of sleep last 4 years. Understand, God bless you. Hugs, make me cry.
Oh, thank you. I know I'm not alone. Thank you. It feels like it every day, but I know I'm not.
Right. Well, first of all, if everybody could create light for Ninja, that her life situation can change, and also we hope that some people help her out with some donations, because she'll need to have money in order to move. She's got 2 cats that are the only family she has, other that are part of her family, so to speak, and that have to go with her, and she's got to relocate, and so she don't have a car, right, and so and she's not going to have a job, and so it's a difficult situation.
I don't even know how to get organized. I'm at the point again where I just want to put a few things in a backpack and just walk. But I know I can't do that yet. Anyway, sorry, I'm a mess. I apologize.
That's right. That's what we're here for. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get into words before I lose it completely? I'd like to get back to wows and giggles. Okay. I was thinking of the word electricity, and I don't know what I saw in it now.
Right. Well, the first thing you see in it is the first 2 letters, L.
Yes, that's what I saw. And elect, and
there's the word for election, and you see it in Malek, the mother, and that's the original word that they took from, and supplemented with angel. It's Malek, and there's lek for lecture, election.
There's
so that's
tri
the power
in it too. I just saw that. Sorry, there's TRI in it.
Okay, that's the tray. That's the 3. That's the tree. L, lek, tray. You see the electric,
and it all makes sense because electricity is energy. And city at the end of it. I don't know.
Electray literally could mean I just had it. Oh, hang on. El ulectray. Ul is the correct for L. It's ul, and it's the division the vision of the sounds of the 3. The vision of the sound of the 3, implying that what happens with electricity, machinery operate. Yes, so it's the sound of machinery. It's the enlightened sound, of the 3, or of creation, and that's what they did when they made the instruments for cutting stone and for drilling. Right? We've seen all the drill holes and the cuts over there in Metsarf, also called Egypt, and around the world. So we know that they made. With this free energy, they used free energy back then. They didn't need, they
use it today, but they don't let us.
So they engineered they took advantage of all the super technology in the beginning. Now they hid it from us. It's all hidden away now, but that's what they could levitate block, and they didn't need a lift crane. All of this stuff. Yeah.
And all
In a
the
way.
obvious stuff like sound and frequencies, all that connection, all those connections, and also electron. Doesn't an electron uh, orbit around the atom?
Yeah.
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 There you go.
There you go. Right.
Okay. Next one.
Okay.
When you were talking about world and whirl, like world, and I kept seeing it's got, sorry, my mind is all over the place at the moment.
Well, that's a good place to be, all over the place.
Yeah, I'll just
Cover a lot of ground that way. That's usually where I am. So welcome to the club.
Oh, Desert, thank you. Just thank you. Okay, well, I kept seeing sword and connecting it. Sword is word. The ASHAYAACH speaking to us, so the world is speaking to us, and signs and symbols rule the world. Yeah.
Not words
See and
nor
read it for
law.
yourself.
Confucius. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, and I wrote down "made from the light." There you go.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's
Okay.
made from the light. Yeah.
Okay. And I think
Unless
I've got other stuff, but I can't find it. My notes are reflecting my mind at the moment.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me think. I was watching, I think I put it in the Skype chat. Yeah, the video on Sodom and Gomorrah. And the narrator mentioned, I can't think of it in context now, I'd have to go back and listen, but the narrator mentioned planted word. So there are people out there that are almost getting it, Desert, but yeah, so I just wowed at that. And I was also wondering while I was watching that, if you can put your hand on the wall of those ruins, ash ruins of those cities, you can put your hand on the wall and make it crumble in your fingers because it's ash. How is it still standing today? How is it still standing today with all the elements of this world, like with the wind and the rain, and how
there is no
it's still
rain. There is
standing?
no right, but there is no rain. Okay, that's an arid place. It's the lowest point on Earth. The Dead Sea is the lowest place on Earth, and so it's the dryness of the place that keeps it preserved. You see, unless somebody touches it, it is weather worn. You can be sure that what you see in those shapes are weather.
Yeah.
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 It's just amazing. It's just amazing. Like the shots that he had from a distance. You can, like when you stand back and look from a distance, you can see it intact. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I was given a video, a VHS video, just before I was given that report on Iron Mountain video. Like a lot of things came to me back then, and I just remembered when I was watching this that I had one on Noah's Ark, and I had one on Sodom and Gomorrah. This is one of the repressed memories. Yeah, and I no longer have them, but I remember watching it, and that was the first time I ever saw that. And I was amazed back then, and yeah, and just watching it. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, just watching it recently, I could see it. I could see the big picture. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know what I knew. I didn't know back then what I know now. So yeah.
Right, and of course, Sodom is an abbreviation, and it is Ashadom. Sodom is Ashadom. They left the A off the front of the word, and it's Asha, And so Eshadam literally means the judgment of the royal eye. So what does that mean? The judgment of the royal eye? Well, because the royal eyes fell. The bright one fell, and he lied to his woman, and the man and the Aryan race themselves fell. Other than the pure line that remained through Enoch and Noah and Asham, and then through Zavramhaim, Abraham, right? That's the only royal line that didn't fall. And so the judgment of the royal eye is that since you did not live up to your purpose and the intention that you were made, you are destroyed. You are destroyed. So it is the royal eye, the destruction of the royal eyes, right? Because
So
we
they
are
did
all
it to
royal
them.
eyes.
They did it to themselves because we all have free will. Is that
Well,
correct?
right. We all have free will, but it's the point of mankind as a whole. In other words, it's a microcosm of the macrocosm. It's one city that represents the absolute totality of the earth itself. You see, he destroys. This. And we get this picture, but that's why you see they changed the meaning, right? The royal
Yeah.
eye, and what do they make the royal eye into? Sodomy. So they put the eye at the other end of the body, right? That's what they do.
Sodomy.
Just like they did with your soul. They took your soul, which was your head, at the top of your body, and they got everybody to walk on it, and they call the bottom of their feet their soul.
The soul, yeah.
You see, right? So it's always a switch out, and
Yeah.
so we have to realize that's why we have the picture of Lotan, not Lot. Lotan literally being pulled out, saved from the destruction, because the purpose, the point is that we're being pulled out, in this great mercy of the Father of
Yeah.
Light that's given us this knowledge. You see, he's pulling us out, but yet the rest of the world's going to, the proverbial statement, going to hell in the handbasket. They're already there. They're
Yeah.
already in the grave. They're
Yeah.
already there, and so in other words, that's why Yeshua, when he came to earth, he says, "I come not to, condemn, but to save." Why didn't he come to condemn? Because we are already condemned. Why would he come to condemn us? We're already condemned. You see, to destruction, to
Yeah.
ignorance, to blindness, to poverty, of the mind.
Wow. Desert, you do it every time. I'm speechless. I'm Ashavolus.
They stole the handbasket from us, Just Love. That's what they did with everything else. So, she's saying where's the handbasket?
Yeah, I can see it. You guys are funny. You appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. So I just want to keep sparking with you right now, but I'm having a blank because you gave me too many wows at once, Desert. Yeah. You did.
I'll send you a bill.
I can give an update on the weather.
Okay, real quick.
Okay. And then I'll let you get on with the program.
Weather happens, you know that, right?
Yes. It's freezing again, pretty much. No, what you were saying about I'll get an image and we'll talk about it on the Chronicles on Friday. Because I have questions and we need visuals to be able to work through it. What you were saying about, I can't even think, the weather over there and the heat and the moisture being concentrated in one spot. I can't remember exactly what you were saying right now, but here I have an image of on radar an unusual cold section, like blue on the picture. Like I said, we need pictures. That is coming straight up from the Antarctic, and I'm seeing a lot of connections with the weird that is going on, that they're constantly pretending to cover up and deliberately leaking information to do with that. I see it more as a base for the weather control, the control of all the frequencies, and which also connects with Bluebeam. I've seen videos of live cam footage where it's just all blue, like a blue haze down there. And I think that is what I'm seeing here. Not so much, because I'm not there. I'm not at the Antarctic, but I'm pretty close. But I'm seeing remnants of that here when I film. There's a blue outline around everything. And the other day when I filmed the shadows in the sky, you can see on the footage that the trees are blurry. I have other footage from a different camera that shows the blue around the trees. I could see that with the naked eye, Desert. I can see the blue outline around the tree branches with the naked eye when the manipulation is really bad. And I think that's what they're trying to distract us from. I think it's all about the frequencies and the blue beam and the weather control down there at Antarctic. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it's all happening everywhere. What I just learned tonight about strontium, I didn't know this, but watching this thing about what was that place called? City 40.
Oh, the City 40 thing, yeah.
That strontium is a byproduct of the nuclear waste. And so when they're telling us they're putting aluminum, barium, and strontium in the air, what is strontium? It's radioactive a byproduct of the nuclear industry. So it's radioactive. They're putting radioactive strontium.
I saw the same thing. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, neither did I. Neither did I.
Another reason everybody needs to be taking potassium iodine every day, or get the C veg from Scott Kennedy at pharmacy.com. That's FARMASEA, pharmacy.com. Okay, but you've got to be taking iodine either from seaweed or from the isolated iodine in a bottle, and take the drops, because that will protect you from absorbing radiated iodine, ladies and gentlemen. You got to take it. I've been taking it since 2011, ever since Fukushima happened, okay? Back then. Go ahead.
Wow. Desert, while we're on being prepared.
Okay, well, hold that thought, because Just Love just said, why are they doing that? Because they want to kill us, Just Love.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Right, go ahead.
While we're on that topic, my toe has flared up because I don't get rest and I don't get a chance to let it heal. And it's worse than ever. Do you know the best thing? I got some things, I got some supplements to take for it that help with joint and inflammation, but I can't take them because I thought they were capsules, and I can't swallow them. They're gigantic, oval-shaped tablets. I can't swallow them. Do you know of anything that I can order online that's easier to take, because I can't find anything locally?
I would be taking L-arginine for circulation. Okay, L-arginine, amino acid.
Can you write it in the chat?
Well, I can, when I get a chance, or I'll send it to you on Skype. All right. I'll put it in your
thank
Skype.
you.
Right, L-arginine, and then
because I'll order something online.
Yeah. If you talk to I don't know if you can talk to a naturopath, but he would have. There's L-arginine right there. Thank you, Just Love, and
thank you.
A product like the sea veg, anything that is strong in nutrition, you need strong nutrition, and so your focus has to, and not eating a lot, just eating till you're full, and not overeat, because that stresses your body.
Getting a lot harder to eat healthy as well, because Mum refuses good food at the moment, and that's controlling what I eat. Because it's hard enough to like I'm always focusing on trying to feed her, and it's just it's a mess. But so
Yeah.
please
You
continue.
may want to consider soaking in Epsom salt. Epsom salt for 45 minutes. What it does is it puts nutrients in your body, and it also takes the toxins out of your body, both at the same time in a 45-minute bath. So Epsom salt would be a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've run out of Epsom salt. I do have pink Himalayan salt that I can use, and baking soda as well is good.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's very
and
relaxing.
therapy. Remember
Yeah.
therapy. So therapy would be, your hand can manipulate the toe by stimulating it. Like light tapping. Like doing a stimulation, like light tapping your foot.
Okay, good.
Anything that's
Because
going to
I'm
stimulate.
wary about touching it because I don't want to make it worse.
Well, but it'll stimulate it. So you've just got to learn the technique that works. Not to, extreme pain,
Yeah.
but just
I'm so at the moment. At the moment, I know I'm letting things get to me more than I should, and I couldn't help but think that the world's going to end, and I'm going to be stuck with a mum with no memory to look after while hobbling around with a
Right.
bad toe. So,
Right. Well,
and
keep
that's not
looking up.
not a good. Yeah, that's not a good way
Yeah.
to deal with the end of the world. So yeah.
No, well, just keep looking up towards Yeshua because he has a
Yeah.
plan for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
And and he's a deliverer, and he wants to give you a great victory of light in your situation there. I'm sure.
Thank you. Let there be Zoray.
Yeah, and Zealot's saying soak it. So just in other words,
Yeah.
you don't have to take a full bath in Epsom salt.
Yeah,
You can just
yeah.
take a foot bath with Epsom
Yeah, I
salt.
can just get a
okay?
bucket and
Yeah.
put it in the lounge room in the evening, and that way I can sit there and at least watch Mum while I'm soaking my toe,
Right.
and maybe the visual will make her realise what I need to be doing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Ninja.
Okay.
Good?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to end it on a good note. So sorry, I was just looking. Sorry, I was just looking at my notes, and I can't decipher anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wonderful program, Desert.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, and thank you, Yojani and Linjani, always. And g'day to Art. How's it going?
Hey, Art. Good to have you.
Yeah, love all you guys. So yeah, let there be light. It's
All right, Ninja. All right, we'll get better and just ask the Father, and of course, creating light, asking Him to help your toe be healed. We'll also do it. Everything. You got to do everything, and that's number one. And He knows what you're going through. You're being tested, and just have victory of light. Don't let it alter your course. Okay, and we're all going somewhere, and we need to help each other to get there. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see on. We're going to be. Of course, you'll probably be with us on Thursday evening, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, when we're doing Forbidden History Live again. But on Friday, we're with you at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on NinjaCat 111. Okay?
Yes.
All right.
Can't wait.
Be there, be square, right?
I was thinking that desert all across the ocean. We were thinking exactly the same thing. I thought that just before you said it. Thank you very much.
Right. That's because our heads are connected right now.
That was thinking.
We got the headsets on. We're on the same wavelength. Okay. Great minds think alike. Right. All right. It's all there.
Thank you. Thank you for the giggles.
All right.
All right. I'll let you go. And creating light for you always, Desert. Always.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to a song then. Is that okay?
That's fine with me.
All right. Good deal. I'm for it. All right, Ninja, be well and keep us posted on anything. All right, and I'll create light for your toe as well. All right. So peace and love.
Yeah, you didn't hear from me last night because I was sleeping. I apologize.
I figured. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I have to hang up, don't I?
Yes, you.
All right. Okay. I'll let you get on.
We'll talk on the chat. All right. See you there. Peace and
Peace and love.
Bye.
See ya.
Are we back on, engineer?
We're back.
Right. Way to go. Let's go to a song, and then when we come back, we'll do the readout of Josephus, and then we'll wind it down. Okay, that won't take too long. They want to welcome everybody to the broadcast on Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. I'm Dezert-Owl. Still time to call a friend, ladies and gentlemen. When we get back, Isaac, the second born, and evidence of the Masoretic text corruption and the priesthood, how they destroyed these original stories. What they didn't want you to know. Come on back. We'll be right back with this after this song. You did tell your friends? All right, thanks.
refuse to hear. You turn your heart away from me each time when I draw near. Your eyes refuse to meet with mine, they glance away in fear, as if you should not look at your reflection in the mirror. How can I explain to you when you won't understand? You scoff me and you mock me and reject the truth at hand. You spread your vicious rumors all across this troubled land. You willfully and knowingly transgress from his command. Your mind has been made unto you by people you don't know, whose thought machines control the scene so well it doesn't show. How can I contain this anguish and this pain, knowing that your eyes are blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Every time I think about the damage that's been done, the anger wells inside me till I'm almost overcome. I want to tear the moon out of the sky and drop the sun. Why do I feel so all alone, like I'm the only one? Even though your eyes are open, they may never ever see. Your mind may never comprehend this sinful subtlety. Your heart may never hunger for the truth that sets you free. Your soul may know the darkness of divine eternity. Like petty thieves who plunder in the shadows of the night, they break inside and enter through the windows of your mind. How can I control this poisoning of the soul? These lies that blind your eyes, blinded by the lies. Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Your mind has been made up for you by people you don't know, whose thought machine controls the scene so well it doesn't show. How can I contain this anguish and this pain, knowing that your eyes are blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Have your
coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. The new world order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests.
Yes, I'd like to have my new world order on rye, please, with a little bit of mayonnaise. Thank you very much. That's amazing. Whenever they did the State of the Union address like that in the end of January, whenever they did it each year, and when people think they're talking to them, all the listeners out there, right? And the truth is, they're giving their subliminal message to their Gandhi Bandi Rashish Hashish, over there in India, and letting them know, hey, the game's on. Okay, I'm here for change. After we're done giving them change, and they won't have nothing left. And and so they speak in double speak, and the people think that they're actually speaking to them, when if you listen to what they're saying and realize that they're speaking to their boss, and all their echelon, all the echelon of the of their freaks, these psychopathic freaks that are running our world. It's really an amazing game that they played on us, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to be set free from it. We need to stop giving credence to Washington, D.C., the whitewash, the mind wash that they've put us under. It's the Federal Reserve is the receiver of the bankruptcy. Okay, Washington, D.C. ceased to exist as a power a long time ago. The Federal Reserve is the head. Okay, so the army, the military is working for them. The bankers are working for the Vatican. Okay, and what part of bankrupt don't we get? Okay, it's just the greatest show. It's just the greatest show on earth. That's all. And the red, white, and blue American flag is the Jesuit Vatican flag, just like the British flag is the Jesuit Vatican flag. It's they don't teach this stuff in school, but you got to learn the symbols, signs and symbols, as Ninja quoted just a little while ago. Rule the world, signs and symbols, not words nor law. There is no law. And the words they've corrupted. They want you to go spell, fool, because you can't spell, because you're under the spell, under their spell, and we got to be under our spell, the correct spell, the correct spelling, okay? And so now we're going to hear about the true story about ASHAYAACH. Isaac is ASHAYAACH. I guess I should spell that. Well, we have it right there on the board, actually, right there. Isaac is ASHAYAACH, and the two A's in Yak are exemplary of male, female, and the duality. Okay, and so the Yak is the creature that is a bull, but it looks like a female because it's got the long hair, right? So it's got the duality in it, and so it's the Yak. And there's where we find the word Mo'ashayak. Mo'ashayak is the primitive original for Messiah. It's Mo'ashayak. So that's what then ASHAYAACH represents, the Messiah, and we're going to see that in this story, right? He represents him. And so we have now Zavramhaim. Now I'm in the let me get some of my tea here. In Josephus, chapter 13. It's in the book 1, the Antiquities, and there were no Jews back then. It says Antiquity of the Jews. It's the perpetual lie that the Jews were back there, Those who control the publishing houses control the narrative, and that's how they did it. Okay, so chapter 13. Now, Zavramhaim greatly loved ASHAYAACH as being his only engendered, his only loved seed. We left off on this last time, and so I went over all that on the first broadcast, so I don't need to elaborate. But it's his only loved seed. Why? Because he already had another son with Ishmael. That was his firstborn, Ishmael. So you see, ASHAYAACH, Isaac, is the second born. Get the picture, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and excuse me, given to him at the border of old age by the favor of Yahweh, who is the great Dul of Haim. The youth also endeared him to his parents still more by the exercise of every virtue and adhering to his duty to his parents and being zealous. There's zealot right there. Being zealous in the worship, the homage. We don't want worships. We want homage, the sound of the ages, the homage of Yahweh, who is the great Dul of Haim. Zavramhaim, Abraham, also placed his own happiness in this prospect that when he should die, he should leave this his son in a safe and secure condition, which accordingly he obtained by the will of Yahweh, who is the great Dul of Haim, who, being desirous to make an experiment of Zavramhaim's religious disposition towards himself, appeared to him and enumerated all the barokim, that's blessings, barokim, the endowment, the enlightenment, and the separation with the mind's eye for seeing in the night, is what it means, he had bestowed upon him. How he had made him superior to his enemies, and that his Zan, ASHAYAACH, who was the principal part of this present happiness, was derived from him. And he said that he required this Zan, son, of his as a sacrifice and a pure oblation. Accordingly, he commanded him. Commanded is the strong word. I think, it really wasn't quite like that. It was, he just said, take your son, your only son. He just told him, it wasn't a command like, a military operation. It wasn't like that. He mandated him to carry him to the mountain of Moriah and to build an altar and offer him for a burnt offering upon it, for that this would be best revealing of his religious disposition towards him, if he preferred what was pleasing to Yahweh, who is a great Dul of Haim, before the preservation of his own Zan, his own son. And this Mount Moriah is the Mount of Olives, okay, in the Garden of Gethsemane. It is the place where Yeshua prayed 3 times before he was betrayed, where he always would take refuge. This is the same location, ladies and gentlemen, not in Jerusalem itself, but across the valley. Okay. And now, and there's your duality again. This is what that other side of them, across the valley represents, a duality where one garden is the true, one is claiming to be a garden and it's false, and it's a place of commerce. Now, Zavramhaim thought that it was not right to disobey Yahweh, who is the great Dul of Haim, in anything, but that he was obliged to serve him in every circumstance of life, since all creatures that live enjoy their life by his providence. And you have to remember also, if you read Jasher, that Zavramhaim was a guy that he, when he got in the face of Nimrod and told him about what he really thought about his idols, and then Nimrod threw him into the fiery furnace, and Zavramhaim was in the fiery furnace for 3 days and 3 nights. So, we know that Zavramhaim had a connection. He was no fool. He knew who ran the universe, and therefore whatever Yeshua said to do, the great Dul of Haim said to do, then, he was going to do it, and because he knew that his power was the greatest. What greater deliverance could you have from being in a fiery furnace for 3 days and you're not burned, And so this is why he was called the Zavram. You see, the Avram then become plural for the Zavram Haim, but Zavram means the star ram. That's what Abram means, is the Avram, the Zavram, the star ram, the sovereign. Yeah, I think you're sovereign if you've been in a fiery pit for 3 days and didn't get burned. You can't get more sovereign than that. Okay, so now Zavramhaim thought that it was not right to disobey the great Elohim in anything, but that he was obliged to serve him in every circumstance of life, since all creatures that live enjoy their life by his providence. That's right. And the kindness he bestows on them. Accordingly, he concealed this command of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, and his own intentions about the sacrifice of his son, his son, from his wife, his Vefe, as also from every one of his Asher fans, from every one of his serpents, every one of his serpents. Otherwise, he should have been hindered from his obedience to the great Elohim. And he took ASHAYAACH together with two of his serpents, again, servant is serpent, but that is Ulazar and Ashamaul. And it's interesting, they don't tell us this, but we find out when we read in Yashar, that it is. And laying what things were, laying what things were necessary for a sacrifice upon an ass. And so, that ass is very symbolic, and we'll talk about it someday again. So he went away to the mountain. Now the two servants, that's Elazar and Ishmael, went along with him 2 days. But on the third day, as soon as he saw the mountain, he left those servants that were with him till then in the plain. And having his son alone with him, he came to the mountain. And it was that mountain upon which King David afterwards built the temple. And there's a footnote here. Here it is a plain error that the copies, which say that King David afterwards built the temple on this Mount Moriah, while it was certainly no other than King Solomon who built the temple, as indeed Procopius cites it from Josephus, for it was for certain that David and Solomon who built the first altar there, as we learn. Okay, well, they're claiming here that it was actually where the Temple Mount is, and I'll have to do a little more comparison then, because I'm pretty certain it was the mountain next to it, and I'll tell you why, because it was Jerusalem was already there. This was the citadel where Noah and Asham already lived. So I'll do more research on that and try to figure it out. Now, as they had brought with them everything necessary for a sacrifice, excepting the animal that was to be offered only. Now ASHAYAACH was 25 years old, and he was building the altar. He asked his father what he was about to offer, since there was no animal there for an oblation, to which it was answered that Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, would provide him an oblation, and he being able to make plentiful provision for men out of what they have not, and to deprive others of what they already have. When they put too much to be present and propitious at this sacrifice, he would provide him an oblation. As soon as the altar was prepared and Zavramhaim had laid on the wood and all the things were entirely ready, he said to his Zan, "My true and perfect, complete son, my Zan, I poured out a vast number of creating light creation, that I might have you for my Zan, for my son. When you were come into the world, there was nothing that could contribute to your support, for which I was not greatly solicitous, nor anything wherein I thought myself happier than to see you grown up to an Ashan's estate, a man's estate, and that I might leave you at my death with the successor, as the successor to my dominion. But since it was by Yahweh, who is the great Elohim's will, that I became your father, and it is now his will that I relinquish you, bear this consecration to Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, with a generous mind. For I resign you up to Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, who has thought fit now to require this statement as testimony of honor to himself on account of the favors he hath conferred on me in being to me a supporter and a defender. Accordingly, you, my Zan, my son, will now die, not in any common way of going out of the world, but sent directly to Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, the father of all Ashan, the father of all mankind, beforehand by your own father, in the nature of a sacrifice. I suppose he thinks you worthy to get clear of this world, neither by disease, neither by war, nor by any other severe way by which death usually comes upon Ashan, but so that he will receive your shul, your soul, with light creation and a pure anointed office of religion, and will place you next to himself, and you will there be for me a succorer and a supporter in my old age, on which account I principally brought you up. And you will therefore procure for me by Yahweh the great Elohim and be my comforter instead of yourself, and will procure me Yahweh for my comforter. The great Elohim, here it would be the great Elohim, meaning with the power of the light of the sun, because it is the logo and the symbol of, when he said all power is given unto me, that's what represents all power, is the sun, for my comforter instead of yourself. And so really what happened here, ladies and gentlemen, is you see, because they knew, the watchers knew the story of of the one who was to come, the ASHAYAACH. Remember, his name is ASHAYAACH, and the Messiah correctly is called ASHAYAACH, and he perceived that his son was destined to be the ASHAYAACH, and that he was going to be a supporter for him in his old age, versus he was going to give his estate to his son, you see? And so he knew the message in the stars. He knew the prediction that at the end of time, one would come to deliver mankind. And he saw that his son was going to be that sacrifice, and to go back to the throne of the Son, and to be a supporter for all mankind. You see, that's why he was clear. He was clearly, absolutely certain that this was the thing that was supposed to be done. That he was fulfilling a prediction from Adam and Eve, Hadam and Dictum and Keva, when they were told by the great Elohim that after 5,500 years he would come back and save them, and he would save all mankind through his sacrifice. So this is what Zavram Haim thought. You see, this is the story that's not being told in our scriptures, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and so get the picture, and it even gets better in the next the book of Yeshar. But I have a little more to go here. Now, ASHAYAACH was of such a generous disposition. And notice he's a young adult. He's not a little infant, victim, no say in the matter. He's got full cognizance of his own reasoning, and he makes his own decisions here. Now, ASHAYAACH was of such a generous disposition, as became the son, the Zan of such a father, and was pleased with this discourse. And he breathed that he was not worthy to be born at first, if he should reject the determination of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, and of his father, and should not resign himself up readily to both their pleasures, since it would have been unjust if he had not obeyed, even if his father alone had so resolved. So he went immediately to the altar to be sacrificed. And the deed had been done if Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, had not opposed it. For he called out loudly to Zavramhaim by his royal title, and forbade him to slay his son. And he breathed. It was not out of desire of earthly blood that he was mandated to slay his son, but nor was he willing that he should be taken away from him whom he had made his father, but to test the temper of his mind, whether he would be obedient to such a mandate. Since therefore he now was satisfied as to his alacrity and the surprising readiness he showed in his piety, he was delighted in having bestowed such barokem, endowment and enlightenment and separation with a mind's eye for seeing in the night upon him, and that he would not be wanting or lacking in any sort of concern about him, and in bestowing other seed upon him as well, and that his son, should live to a very great age, and that he should live a happy life, and bequeath a large principality to his offspring, and should be perfect and legitimate. And he foretold also that his family should increase into many nations. And the footnote here says, it seems both here in the Yahweh's parallel barokem of Yochelleg that Josephus had yet no notion of the hidden meaning of that most important and most eminent promise: in your seed will all the families of the earth be blessed. That's baroket, endowed, enlightened, and separated, with a mind's eye for seeing in the night. He saith not, and to seeds as to many, but as of one, that's Yeshua, as one seed, and to your seed, which is the ASHAYAACH, Christ, Galatians 3:16. Nor is it any wonder, he being, I think, as yet not a ASHAYAAChem, or what we call Christian, and had he been a ASHAYAAChem Christian, yet since he was, to be sure, till the latter part of his life, no more than a Ebionite Christian, who above all the royal messengers, says apostles here, rejected and despised. Well, they say St. Paul here, the Ebionites were an offshoot, though, and were not the pure line. It would be no great wonder if he did not follow his interpretation. In the meantime, we have, in effect, St. Paul's exposition in the Testament of Reuben, section 6, in the authentic RAC period 1302, who charges his son to worship the seed of Utha, that's Judah, who should die for them in visible and invisible wars, and should be among them an eternal king. That's Yeshua, of course. He was of the tribe of Utah. Nor is that observation of a learned foreigner of my acquaintance to be despised, who takes notice that as seeds in the plural must signify posterity, and that would be of the earth. But so seed in the singular may signify either posterity or in the single character person, and that in the promise of all nations being happy in the seed of Zavramhaim, it's about the seed of Yeshua, or ASHAYAACH, or of Yochelleg, Jacob, etc. It is always used in the singular, to which I will add that it is sometimes, as it were, paraphrased by the son of Zavramhaim, the Zan of Zavramhaim, and the Zan of Tavat, David, which is capable of no such ambiguity. Okay, so finishing up here, I'll back up on that line. So he foretold also that his family should increase into many nations, and that those patriarchs should leave behind them an everlasting title, that they should obtain the possession of the land of Genun, which means the garden at high noon, the garden of the eye, and be envied by all Ashan. When Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, had said this, he produced for them a ram, not a lamb, but a ram, which represents Yeshua, because he was the ultimate, is the ultimate Zav Ram. Just like Abraham is Zavram, Zavram Haim, which did not appear before for the sacrifice. So Zavram Haim and ASHAYAACH receiving each other unexpectedly, and having obtained the promises of such great Baruch, endowment and enlightenment and a mind's eye for seeing in the night, being separate, embraced one another, and when they had sacrificed, they returned to ASHAYAACH, to Sarah, and lived happily together, Yahweh affording them his assistance in all things that they desired. But as we'll learn in Jasher, Yeshar, that Sarah actually was dead when they got back. She died, and here's a little short blurb by Josephus. Now ASHAYAACH, Sarah, died a little while after. It was right while this was happening. She died of a broken heart, and we'll find out what that was all about tomorrow, or Thursday, excuse me. She announced ASHAYAACH, Sarah, died a little while after having lived 127 years, and they buried her in Hebron. The Ganonites publicly allowed them a burying place, which piece of ground Zavram Haim bought for 400 shekels of Ephron, an inhabitant of Hebron. And both Zavram Haim and his descendants built themselves sepulchres in this place. And let me see what the title of this is. How the nation of the troglodytes were derived from Zavram Haim to Keturah. Yeah, well, after this, then Zavram Haim marries again and has additional wives and sons and daughters. And so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The part 2 on Isaac, the second born, and the promise that was expressed through the sacrifice. And it was ASHAYAACH who was clearly willing to go. And so it wasn't just a test for Zavram Haim, but it was also a test of ASHAYAACH. Both of them willing to do whatever the great Dol of Haim, whatever Yahweh said, they would do it. And it's the great picture of the sacrifice. And so there you go. Okay, and I look forward to the really big one. Now is going to be on Friday evening, Yahweh willing, and we're there. Otherwise, it would be Saturday at high noon. We're going to do high noon now on Saturdays, just like Sundays are high noon. Keep it simple. And I find out that I sometimes am running behind because I got to do a workout and other things. So high noon on Saturday and every Sunday now, Eastern time. Okay, and I hope that this helps to allow you to see how what we've been given in Ganesha, the book of Genesis, is such a limited story, and how they change. Even in Josephus, they never tell us that the two that went along with him were Eleazar, and who was his head slave, and then Ishmael, who was born of a slave woman. You see, and they could not go on the third day. They could not go in the third age, symbolic of the third age, the golden age of light, the age of the second born. Only the second born could go, you see. And so that is in that story, if you can get the picture. And but we lost the picture when they wouldn't tell us who the two servants were, right? They didn't tell us. It was the two that could have also received the inheritance. They could have received the inheritance. If Abraham, Zavram Haim, never had a son, then Eleazar, who was the loyal servant, would have received the inheritance of the estate. But then when Ishmael comes, Ishmael would have been the next one now entitled to the estate. But it was going to be, are we going to get back on to close out with the song, Shelley?
It's reconnecting, it says.
Okay, let me tell them they're reconnecting.
Okay.
So, refresh. Okay, okay, you still got a 10 on the audio, okay? And we're just hoping we can close out with the song here. That'd be a nice thing to do. If not, then yeah, the internet is our world's going down, so we should figure, right? I mean, technology is supposed to get better as it goes along. Here we are. Okay, Ninja, you still got it. So, okay, then let's just go ahead and we're going to wrap it up now with the song. And, I'm Dezert-Owl telling you, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, very grateful that you tuned in. And I hope you do tell your friends. And we have a revolution in thinking. And if you want to know the future, then just look for the Forbidden History. It's all right here. I'll see you.
Starry, 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 starry night. Paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills. Sketch the trees and the daffodils. Catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night. Flaming flowers that brightly blaze. Swirling clouds in violet haze reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue. Colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain. Weathered faces lined in pain are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night. Portraits hung in empty halls. Frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget. Like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never